When I was 4, I was asked the question. You know the question. What will you do when you grow up? I exclaimed confidently, I'm going to start a garbage man business with my brother. I dreamed big from the start. I would drive the truck, of course. He would pick up the garbage. The problem, as I discovered, was not my tender age. It was that the local government had a monopoly on the garbage business, and it'd be hard to break. Don't worry. This talk's not about garbage, entrepreneurship, or local governments per se, but it is about the macro forces of centralizations that crushed my youthful dreams, and the opposing forces that are coming next. In this talk, I hope to convince you that the centralized platforms the last 150 years will be dissipated by a coming wave I call the Great Diffusion. Before I tell you about the Great Diffusion, let's reflect on where we've been. Over the last 150 years, unprecedented technological progress brought us massive social and economic change, ever-consolidating, urbanizing, monopolizing change. Just look at the mega factories in integrated supply chains that bring us everything from our clothes to our iPhones, with inputs ranging from the Congo to China, serving economies of scale, yet falter at the faintest flickers, like the auto industry did with the chip shortage in Taiwan. Or look at the mega businesses that have consolidated. Think home goods, groceries, accounting firms, all in the name of synergies, yet have hollowed out competition in local small business along the way. Or look at our physical infrastructure. Think power plants, highways, airports, physical altars to the centralization, all connected hub and spoke. Or suburbs, like donuts built around a city, centralized and sprawled to become megacities, reshaping our society, devastating our environment. Until today, it was cheaper and more efficient to get bigger, as big as possible. Until today, every aspect of our work, our lives, and our society has been consolidating. That era is over. A new wave of technologies are poised to bring massive social and economic change, but this time it will be decentralized change. The Great Diffusion is still in its early innings, but its effects can already be felt around the world. Production is moving from mega factories in far-flung lands to be closer to home, smaller, more local, more time-bound. Star Trek promised us 3D printers. Star Wars promised us robots. While not yet in our homes, 3D printers are already manufacturing furniture and rocket engines, and autonomous robots are folding laundry and defending countries. Forget Zoom. Virtual reality will move knowledge work. Think accountants, lawyers, venture capitalists like me, really any type of white-collar work, out of the monolith office building once and for all. Did you know you can already tour a house, learn the guitar, and experience a fully immersive movie or conference call already? Next-generation infrastructure, like space-based internet, next-gen batteries, autonomous driving, will mean life and work can happen closer to home or as far off grid as we want. And if the promise of flying cars is ever realized, it will reshape everything from road access, will we even need it, or regional transportation. And all this before I've even uttered the words artificial intelligence, which is poised to accelerate each one of these trends. As the Great Diffusion morphs from a few isolated snowballs on a mountainside into an all-consuming avalanche of change, I'd like to focus on what each of us can do individually and in our communities to meet this challenge, but to also take advantage of its opportunities. I'm a parent, so when I think about the future, I think about my kids, to whom the diffusion era belongs. So what will my daughter do for work, and how should she prepare? Even if she chooses to be a doctor like one grandmother, or a travel agent like the other, the default will move from employed to entrepreneur. With virtuality, artificial intelligence, and a range of software tools, she will be able to rent the capabilities of the largest players, and there'll be no need, or even potentially possibility, of joining the mega conglomerate. And even if she wants a job The gig economy is already fractionalizing careers well beyond delivery drivers and taxi, already today affecting school teachers, nurses, designers, and more. My daughter will not need to join the conveyor belt career. She'll have more agency in her life. She'll be competing with people on a more even level. This is one of the beautiful things about the Great Diffusion, a more inclusive and diverse future. Studies have long shown that diffusion trends like remote work and the gig economy lower workplace bias and increase accessibility. But what of the menu of choices and careers you might have? If we're manufacturing with 3D printers and autonomous robots, driving less, and what's left is done with driverless cars, what then of truckers and those manufacturing jobs? And as artificial intelligence continues its meteoric rise, what then of bookkeepers, assistants, travel planners? What we do know is a whole new set of jobs are also emerging, and some we can't even yet imagine. Things like prompt engineers for ChatGPT, to virtual reality community managers, to experience curators, to bot ethicists, whatever some of these mean. The era of centralization was an era of job first. These dictated where and how we lived in every sense. This will not be the case in the era of diffusion. My wife and I grew up in a small city and had to leave to pursue our careers and work on global issues. What will my not yet 2-year-old son do? And how will he grow up? He will not face a similar trade-off. Places like Sonoma, or Marin where we live, or Winnipeg, where I'm from, won't suffer the brain drain. When world-class careers are available anywhere due to greater connectivity and a culture surrounding it, the need for centralized megacities starts to dissipate. My son will be able to choose the location and community he wants, not the one he's forced into. And if centralization brought us to the nuclear family, perhaps diffusion will ease some of those pressures. My son will not put on his virtual reality headset and stop there. He will have the opportunity and responsibility to build the intentional communities of the future. And diffusion might mean more small business and solo entrepreneurs solving more local problems, and potentially also less waste, less long-distance transport, less destruction, a more sustainable way of living. Maybe. But it will require adaptation. Our systems, our laws, our government, our education, our culture are based on the centralization era. These will need to be changed at the local, national, and international levels, and will require the efforts of every person at every level. So, how do we prepare our children and our children's children for a future that seems simultaneously like our ancestors' village and town-based past and our most outlandish sci-fi novels? My daughter believes she has the answer. Unsurprisingly, if you've ever met her, she's 4, and she was recently asked that same question, what she will do when she grows up. She exclaimed defiantly, "I want to be an Artemis." Artemis is her name. Now, I know what you're thinking. Classic Marin millennial parenting move. And she's also in a pretty literal phase right now, but I also think she's on the right track. You see, we named her after the Greek goddess of the hunt, the moon, the protector of women, a force of nature. And that strong and uncompromising sense of self, that drive, and that fierce defense of the vulnerable, both human and natural, will serve her well in navigating and defining a diffused future. But we might need a hint of something else, too. My son's name is Castian, named after an ancestor philosopher who gave away the family estate and survived World War II. What I'm saying is this probably wasn't the guy that would make his younger brother pick up the garbage. But I'm also talking about the skills of adaptability, a learning mindset, emotional intelligence, generosity, resilience, and grit. In this kaleidoscopic moment of change, we have the opportunity to prepare ourselves and our communities for the changes that are coming. So I'll leave you with a question. What will you do to prepare for the diffused future? And what will you do when you grow up? Thank you.